everyone. Welcome to the Alchemy of Self, turning challenges into catalysts for growth. Masterclass number one. We are so excited and so deeply moved that all of you felt the call to join us on our first masterclass that we're putting out together. This has been a long time coming, and it's been building up, and we just couldn't hold it anymore. And so,
We're so excited.
Yes, we're now ready to come out and be able to share some of what we've learned, the processes that we've been trained on to be able to pass on the tools to the world, to be able to support others in their journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a little bit, I dabble in different worlds, and there's this beautiful spiritual loving community, which when I tune into each one of your energies, it's like there's quite a bit of spiritualness here that I feel this evening, right? But then also over the last 30 years, I've been in the business development realm and in big development projects and construction and sales and all the things and negotiating contracts. And people don't really talk about what's going on in these like internal, things that we're dealing with as humanity, and more and more and more we get into these circles. Let's call this a circle, even though we're looking like a bunch of squares, right? It allows us the time to really open up, and by being the demonstration of doing the work myself, like when I'm navigating negotiations and stresses and all that, these tools have proven to be so valuable. When I say these tools, the tools we're bringing tonight and in the future masterclass have been so valuable for me to be able to self-regulate in this environment that that I get to operate in, and so much, and many of us do. And so there's been this heart's calling, like Claudia shared, to bring these tools forward, especially as mental health and these different conversations are becoming more and more of a thing since our world changed in 2020. And so many things became virtual, and people went all over the world and all these things. So it's really like true and near and dear to my heart and our heart, and how we were interrelate in our relationship. Anybody who knows us know we can be like, let's talk about this, and we don't really with anybody. And so we want that, those tools to be available for everyone. And that's a big part of why we're here tonight.
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen as I prepared a presentation for us. So there we go. Can everybody see our screen?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs down.
Yes.
Thumbs in the middle. Thumbs up. Jen says thumbs up.
Awesome. Amazing. So welcome, everyone. We're so grateful to have you here with us today. I am Claudia, and this is Adam. And together we are the co-founders of Purple Eagle Tribe. Today, we're excited to guide you through a transformative masterclass, The Alchemy of Self, turning challenges into catalysts for growth. Our goal is to help you shift your perspective on life's obstacles and show you how to turn them into powerful opportunities for personal growth.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So in tonight's session, throughout the session, we'll explore key concepts of the Alchemy of Self program, integrating principles from psychosynthesis, a holistic approach of personal development that emphasizes integration of various aspects of ourself. And we focus on overcoming self-sabotage. We focus on building resilience, on shifting your mindset to navigate challenges with grace. And by the end of this masterclass, you'll actually have some practical tools rooted in psychosynthesis that you can start using immediately to transform your life.
Yep. And as we mentioned, you will be needing a journal or a piece of paper and a pen for those of you who just joined us. So make sure that you can have that handy for the part of the process.
And as mentioned, for those who hopped on a little late, if you're in a place like, oh my God, they didn't tell me paper and pen, I didn't get that in the email, these guys suck. It's just use the phone. We have you can, even voice record if you wanted to, if you're on mute, there's you just leverage your technology. It's something for you to actually look back at also after this call, because you're going to have a real-time opportunity to experientially go through some of the processes here. I'm saying processes like I'm from Canada. Processes.
So who are we?
Two sexy beasts. Look at those photos.
Yes. Hopefully you got a chance to read a little bit about us on the event page. But for those of you who are just joining us, again, my name is Claudia Muktiramjaya. We both come from the Kalinatha Yoga lineage that is in the Kashi Ashram, located in Sebastian, Florida, for those of you who may be familiar. So I'm one of the co-founders of Purple Eagle Tribe. I am a spiritual mentor, a divine feminine guide, a group healing facilitator. I'm a Reiki master, a certified angel healer practitioner, and a certified psychosynthesis transpersonal guide.
Yes, we have to like scroll down as we're reading our credits there. It's like we're getting more and more. So I am Adam Satyaram Jaya, also the Kalinatha Yoga lineage. I'm the co-founder, the other co-founder of Purple Eagle Tribe, a spiritual mentor, a sacred masculine guide, and a group healing facilitator. I'm also certified in Akashic Records practitioner and a certified psychosynthesis transpersonal guide and a Reiki master specializing in shamanic Reiki.
Yes, and then my specialty is in Egyptian
Are
alchemy.
you sure? Yes. You're not using it for something else?
Gotta mute Brother Mike again. If you are unmuted, please just go ahead and mute yourself. Thank you very much. And so together we co-founded Purple Eagle Tribe in 2019 with the intention of creating a conscious community and a sacred space for growth, healing, awakening, transformation, and self-discovery.
Our mission is to help individuals like you to reconnect with your true essence and overcome challenges and align to your highest purpose, and together dream into being the new earth.
The new earth, yes, we are doing that together. How exciting. So thank you again for being here with us today. So let's do a check-in before we dive in. So if you're here today, you are likely feeling ready for a shift, or you're looking to turn obstacles into growth opportunities. And as we say this and that you see yourself, you can raise your hand so that we know that you are one. You're experiencing that. Thank you. So this masterclass is for you if you're someone who feel like life's challenges often hold you back, or if you are seeking a deeper connection with yourself, your purpose, and the world around you.
And if you've ever struggled with self-sabotage or feeling stuck, wondering how to move forward in a more aligned way, this masterclass will give you practical tools and mindset shifts to create lasting change. So we'd like to see, if you can take your camera off, put your camera on, sorry. And
or you can raise your hand.
You can raise your hand. We just want to see you. It's a participation part of this program. There's not a whole lot of these. So you can say any of these bullet points, if any of them land for you, just raise your hand. You might need more than one hand, actually.
So often you feel overwhelmed by challenges and seek ways to reclaim your power.
Raise your hand.
Let me see that. Yep. You're seeking a more center and balanced experience of life. Raise your hand.
I see virtual hands going up. That's hilarious.
You recognize patterns of self-sabotage and you are ready to break free from them. Yay. Jennifer is like, okay.
Raising my feet.
You're looking to build greater resilience and transform adversity into personal growth. Yes. And then also, for those of you who may be interested in guiding, facilitating, or holding space, this is not just a masterclass, but the program that we'll be talking about in a moment. It's the first step. A lot of people come to us as we are group facilitators, and they are interested in facilitating holding space for another person. And, we tell them the first step of holding space for another person is doing the inner work. Right? You want to make sure that you have done your inner work, that you've been able to integrate all those parts of yourself so that when you show up for another person, right, you're showing up whole, you're showing up, we're all whole and complete human beings, right? But when we've done the inner work, we really can show up present for another human being, right? Because we have done the inner work. So this will be a great first step.
Yeah, I'd like to speak into just one
For you.
little editorial comment there. It's like when holding space, whatever that be, that could be holding space with myself, my beloved, my children, in my work. What it means to actually be like a clear vessel and check in and have some tools versus projecting our stuff all over and then misperceiving and then all that cleanup work and all the energy that goes along with it. So this centering, which is what really psychosynthesis in this program is allowing to be so, really is creating some real tools in real time and every moment to check in and pause just for a second before, projecting
Yeah.
this inner reality that is just a
Exactly.
perspective.
And another way that the inner work supports you is if you haven't done the inner work, you'll tend to get triggered very easily at other people, right? Other people's experiences, coming, different things. So if you normally get triggered, that's an indication that there is parts of yourself that they need love, that they still need to be integrated. So the framework that we'll be sharing with you today will give you an opportunity to do exactly that so that you can then show up fully present and available to support one another. Now, Abby Rose has her hand up. Do you have a question right now? Or you forgot to put your hand down?
Oh, no, I forgot to put my hand down. Sorry.
Must be
Okay, great.
aligning with all the bullet points or something,
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much. So we're going to get started, and we're going to get started with a grounding and centering meditation, or we call it tuning in. So
Yeah.
this practice will give you already an opportunity to experience the work of psychosynthesis that we'll be sharing with you today.
Yeah, and we actually, through each session going forward, whenever anybody works with us as, couple or one-on-one, or even in our daily practice, like waking up in the morning, as grounding and centering meditation is a beautiful way to get tuned in, right? Prior to going into any of the doingness, because if I just go start like where am I actually doing from? What frequency am I putting out there? So I'm going to be welcoming you all, if you feel comfortable with doing so, to begin to kind of just find your butt in your seat or wherever you are and become present to your body and the temperature in the room. There's been some humor and some opening in the space, and just allow yourself to start to connect with how your breath feels right in this moment. And if you're so inclined, if you'd like to close your eyes, because the answers are actually within. So when we can tune out all of this external screens and lighting and everything we're looking at, and we can just allow ourselves to go in and possibly put your hands on your chest or your belly if you feel so inclined, and just give yourself a moment to take a deep breath in.
And we highly recommend that you give yourself this moment. So you can just, stop what you're doing and just close your eyes to receive.
And just notice your breath. Nothing extra needs to be done. Just feel the natural rhythm of your breath. Maybe for the first time today, you're like, oh, I'm breathing. And just scan your body, scan your shoulders, scan your neck, scan your back, scan your feet and your hands and your arms, your legs and your belly, the tip of your nose. Notice if there's any tension between your eyebrows. Just take a deep breath into that tension and let it out with a sigh and let it melt away. And just let your breath breathe. And just be here and follow these words just for a few minutes. Allow yourself to tune into this present moment.
And then as you are finding that relaxation, again, continue to breathe into any area of tension you have in your body. If you need to move your shoulders or just roll your neck, just allow yourself to find the most relaxed space that you are able to in this moment. And continue breathing, connecting with your breath. And then on your next breath, notice your body. Just become the loving observer of your body. And as you're breathing in and just noticing, simply noticing your body and accepting whatever it is that's present in your body, whatever it is you're experiencing, you're just observing, noticing, accepting, breathing, and just letting go. Just becoming the loving observer of your physical body. And then on your next breath, you're going to notice your emotions. And just simply becoming the loving observer of your emotions. And then with your breath, you can breathe your emotions into your body, whatever they are, without judging, without changing, just simply observing and accepting whatever it is happening in your emotional body. There is nothing to do besides observing, accepting, and breathing your emotions into your body. And then on your next breath, become aware of your mental state. Becoming aware of your thoughts. And again, just simply observing. Observing your thoughts with acceptance, with love. And then breathing your thoughts into your body and letting them go. And from this place, you can observe your body, your emotions, and your mental state. And you're simply observing. Now find this place within your center of your being, where just love arises. You're just present to what is. And just breathing through and letting go. Finding the center. Continuing to breathe, let go, and observe. You are this awareness. You are this loving observer. You are not the content of your awareness. You are this light of awareness that is observing it all.
And now turn your attention into your decision to be here right now. At some point, you made a choice to come and be on this call tonight and be right here with us. You chose to be here. There's a will within you, a will to be here, listening to a meditation. Feel into this will, the will that made you decide to come right here. You could have done so many other things, but you chose to be right here. This force, this will, this is how you define your life. You choose to be right here. You choose the people you want to be around. You choose your work. You choose your exercise, your will, the I, the will of the self. And take a deep, deep, deep breath in.
Breathing in and just noticing that the center of awareness and will. And then slowly you may return back to our call, our class. And welcome back. How did that feel for everybody? That was good, right? Beautiful. Excellent. So this is one of the core concepts of psychosynthesis, right? To be able to observe, right? Be able to identify who we really are.
Yeah.
Because we get identified with our emotions, our body,
Our
our
circumstances.
circumstances. And then we tend to think that that's who we are, right? But that's not who we are. Who we are is the observer of all the contents of our awareness, of everything that is happening in our consciousness and in our experience of life. And so,
And there's a resilience that doing this work, because it's easy to, okay, we just did that, but like, and then what? So this resilience that we begin to build up doing this work, this is why there's a more robust program to keep practicing it and being in community and practicing this together creates that space where the loving observer can be, you know, more of the driver of life than the circumstances and the feelings and the emotions and the thoughts and the body and the mind and
yes,
all the things.
we have many years of programming of identifying differently, right? Identifying with our circumstances, with our emotions. So it takes time to be able to develop that muscle of recognizing the truth, our true self, and then be able to create this space, right? This space that would allow you to choose differently and to choose not to react. And we'll go into that a little bit more as we move through the class. So you have heard us mention the alchemy of self, and we will be sharing more about this later on in the masterclass, but we'll give you a just quick overview. The alchemy of self is our 13-month transformational journey that is deeply rooted in the principles of psychosynthesis and transpersonal coaching. And essentially, we will guide individuals like you go through a process of deep self-discovery, integration, and spiritual alignment.
At its core, the alchemy of self is about taking the raw material, you know, all the things up till this point in life, and our emotions, our challenges, our limiting beliefs, our sub-personalities, which we'll speak into a little bit more, and turning them into something more refined, whole, aligned with our higher self. That's the alchemization.
Yeah, that is in a nutshell. So
some context.
yes, that's a little bit about the alchemy of selves. Now we'll start diving into a little more about psychosynthesis, like many of you.
So what is psychosynthesis? Psychosynthesis is a form of transpersonal psychology developed by Mr. Roberto Assagioli. Everybody say hi, Roberto Assagioli. And that focuses on the integration of all aspects of the self-conscious and the unconscious into a harmonious whole. Unlike traditional psychology, which often addresses the mind's fragmentation and dysfunctions, psychosynthesis takes a holistic approach aiming for a self-realization, balance, and alignment with higher values.
Yes. And so Roberto, hold on, let me get somebody in right now. Okay, there we go. So Roberto Assagioli, he was an Italian psychiatrist, the founder of Psychosynthesis. As we mentioned, it's a form of psychology that integrates spiritual growth with modern psychological practice. He was a contemporary of Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, but thought to create a more holistic approach to understanding the human psyche. While Freud focused on the unconscious and its role in psychological issues, and Jung emphasized archetypes and the collective unconscious, Assagioli believed that psychology should also address the higher aspects of human nature, such as creativity, love, spirituality, and the will.
Jolie, psychosynthesis emphasizes potential for personal growth and self-realization by integrating the different parts of the self, the conscious, the unconscious, and the superconscious. And he viewed the individual not just as a collection of psychological processes, but as a spiritual being with a potential for profound transformation.
Yes, so super powerful work. We're so grateful to have been guided to his work. And so here are some of the core concepts and the key principles of psychosynthesis. So for this masterclass specifically, we're going to touch on 3. There are more, of course, throughout the training, but in this specific class, we're touching upon these 3. So integration of sub-personality. So we all have different selves, or what it is called in psychosynthesis as sub-personalities. So you can think of them as different roles or different voices that exist within us, right? So for example, there may be a part of you that is very confident in some specific area of your life, while another part might feel insecure in another. So who can relate to this, right?
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. Excellent.
Sometimes in the same minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So psychosynthesis teaches us to recognize, accept, and harmonize these sub personalities rather than allowing them to be in constant conflict.
Mhm.
Wait, did I raise my hand? I think I raised my hand.
We just had our hand moving. It's recognizing hand gestures, so we'll put our hand down. So one of the things I love to work with, and it brings really in the sacred masculine aspect, is the will. So central to psychosynthesis is the concept of the will, the conscious choices we make that move us towards higher goals and personal growth. The will is connects with these fragmented parts of ourselves into one direction, aligning us with a purpose that's authentic to who we are. In this masterclass tonight, and we'll go into it deeper in our other classes as well, we'll focus on how to harness this will to turn challenges into opportunities.
Yes, really good stuff, juicy stuff. And then the last is the self-identification, also called disidentification. So in psychosynthesis encourages a practice of disidentification or stepping back from the limited roles that we talked about, the sub-personalities like the victim, the overachiever, that, and be able to recognize our true self, right? That we had a little bit of an experience of that during our opening meditation, right? That our true self transcends all of these sub-personalities and all of these roles. And so this broadened identity, right, connects us to our higher self and purpose, allowing us to act from a place of inner wisdom.
Mhm. Psychosynthesis also offers a powerful way to understand and harmonize these various parts of ourselves, like the synthesis, the harmony, and often what we call sub-personalities, like subconscious. These are different aspects within us, such as the inner critic. Who knows about the inner critic? The nurturer. Yeah, let me just take care of everybody else, but don't worry about me.
Yep.
The warrior. I got this. Don't worry. I'm all by myself. And many, many more. By acknowledging and integrating these subpersonalities, we're able to find inner harmony and guide ourselves towards true purpose.
Yes. So in this process, as we mentioned earlier, we'll be focusing on the will and that, conscious choice that we have to make aligned decisions and to be able to align ourselves with our highest potential. And when we consciously engage with the will, we can then turn life challenges into opportunities, and we stop seeing obstacles as setbacks and start viewing them as teachers guiding us on our path to self-realization.
Mm-hmm. So throughout this class today, we're going to guide you through some key psychosynthesis practices, like we've already done, and transformational tools. This is just a taste of what our more robust offering, this 13-month coaching program, has in store, the Alchemy of Self. And that program will go much deeper into helping you build resilience and align with your higher self and manifest your ideal life.
Yes. So far, so good. Everybody with
any
us?
questions? Anything you'd like to share? Anybody feel some burning desire to share anything?
Okay, great. There is a chat that I'm actually not monitoring. So let me see. Okay, here we go. Oh, beautiful. There's a photo of a wedding. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you so much. For some reason, I can't find a way to turn the hand off. So I'll just have to leave it like that. All right, perfect. So let's keep moving along. So we're going to go through our first practice, and it's a guided reflection and identifying self-sabotage. So we're going to begin with exploring an area of your life where you have recently faced a challenge. So if you want, you can start to bring to your awareness whatever that challenge may be.
You know, something in your present day where you're facing a challenge, or over the, you know, the recent past.
Often the obstacles that we encounter are not just external, right? They are internal, and they're driven by fears, doubts, or beliefs that we may not even be fully aware of. And so in this reflection, we're going to uncover what we call in psychosynthesis personalities that we've talked about, and be able to see the different parts of ourselves that might be holding us back.
Mm-hmm. And here we go again. I get to be the one to tee up these closed eye processes. So if you're able to do so again, we're going to take an opportunity to look at these challenges or setbacks that have happened. So if you give yourself just a moment to allow your eyes to close again, to go to that internal space, and again, turn off the outside world. Take a deep breath in again. And just bring your mind to a recent challenge or a setback or a stress that happened in your life you may have experienced recently. Maybe it was a difficult conversation, maybe a missed opportunity, or a goal that you've struggled to receive. Maybe you're setting goals and just can't quite get in the
Achieve them,
rhythm
yeah.
and can't really get to achieve, like, and it brings up stress. Whatever it is, just bring one of those things to mind. There may be many, just choose one. And as you think of this challenge,
And if we can get a hands up for anybody that already has a challenge in mind. Perfect, great.
Yeah. Eyes closed, hands up, yeah. And as you notice and think of this challenge, notice your thoughts and your emotions that come up for you in bringing this challenge to mind.
So just give yourself time to tune into that.
Give yourself time to feel and notice any thoughts that come up about this challenge.
And so what were the first thoughts that entered your mind when you faced this challenge? Was there a voice inside you that told you you're not ready, you're not good enough, this always happens to me? What did you hear inside of you? What was that voice? And then can you identify the emotion that surfaced? Perhaps was fear, frustration, or anger. What was the emotion associated with that? And then where in your body did you feel this emotion? And does that feel familiar? Have you felt this before?
And now, can you picture a part of yourself, a sub personality that was present during this challenge? Like what part of you came up during this challenge? Perhaps it's the fearful child, the strict inner critic, or the protector that wants to keep you safe and hold you back. Just allow yourself to visualize this part of yourself and reflect on it and what it might be trying to tell you.
And just like identify that self-personality. And so now we're going to journal. I'm going to take a moment so you can come back to the space and open your eyes. And I'd like you to take a moment to write down what you discovered. What did this personality say to you? What was the voice? How did you feel? And then how did it influence your actions or your reactions with this particular challenge that you went through? And was this part trying to protect you? Or did it hold you back from growth? So just be honest with yourself. This is the opportunity to bring these hidden parts into the light. Just write without any judgment and explore the emotions and the thoughts associated with this self-personality. Does anybody need a little more time? We're gonna open up for sharing. Anybody who would like to share what came up? Maybe what was the self-personality?
Yeah, just feel free to unmute yourself
Unmute
and share
yourself.
whenever you're ready.
I'm sharing for a moment. Oh, maybe now I can lower my hand.
Hmm.
Anastasia
Pitanova and Fraser,
and
nice.
Fraser, excellent. All right,
Like
Anastasia.
popcorn over here.
Hi, I'm sorry I can't open up the camera, but it's amazing. What came up to me is financial struggle, not struggles, but some difficulty. And I came back all the way where I was 5 years old. And I saw myself standing like on the middle of the yard. And I remember my parents weren't around, they were working, and I felt trapped. I felt I was scared, and I felt very alone and not free. So like I can't move anywhere. And yeah, that's the image that came to me. It's interesting. And on the questions, what's it's holding me back, it's protecting me from, it almost feels like this little girl afraid of moving forward and expanding because she's not understanding if there is someone there for her, like this type of feeling. It's beautiful. I didn't expect that to happen. But yeah, that's
And
my
how
sharing.
how's this part influencing your actions today or your reactions?
Um, probably not fully showing up, like really holding myself back from being full expression. It's I'm still hiding, even though I think I'm very active and moving forward. It's still not 100%. And these feelings show up to me right now, and I feel exactly sometimes like this when I need to show up on social media and or do the presentation for a listing presentation, something like that. I feel this feeling, the same feeling in the same part of my body, exactly the same.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing, right? So there it is.
Yeah.
This unconscious part of you totally influencing your current life experience, holding you back,
Mhm.
protecting you, and it goes all the way down into when you were 5 years old. Excellent, great work.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, Fraser, I'd like to go next.
Hello.
Hello.
So for me, the biggest thing that came up for me was the inability to get to the US right now because of the way I tried to do it. A lot of anger and fear and emotional flooding came in, and it's from abandonment, and it was my inner child is what it felt like was coming through. And yeah, real just devastation, sadness, like just crippling sadness that I can't be there at this time. But it's like it's I I haven't told a lot of people about that my dad passed away when I was very young. I was like 13 years old, so I feel that if I don't make it there, it's like I'm abandoning my daughter. And I can't do that to her. That's what comes up for me.
Thank you for sharing that. It's being able to see that the intertwining of that subconscious part of ourselves and begin to reveal. And when we bring that up into the light, then there's this like, whoa, is that actually, it's not this circumstantial thing. There's actually this like subconscious aspect that's almost perpetuating itself in life by creating the circumstances, like the circumstances being generated from the inside, right? And then the act of will, right? The act of will goes in deeper of like, if I have this personality, like Will shared before, this 5-year-old girl, or this this feelings that you were feeling, and then I'm acting every day and I'm taking acts of will and making choices. Where am I choosing from? If I don't know about it until I get taken through one of these guided meditations, and then every action I'm taking is ultimately partially informed by those parts of ourselves, and we can get clear on these things and learn some resilience techniques, then we can start choosing from this place of wholeness. And then those circumstances don't feel so devastating, right?
Right, exactly, because you can see how your experience of life is being charged by that experience that you've been carrying. And that's why it feels so unsurmountable, right? Like the sadness, and it's like it's almost like it's paralyzing, right? And so great job, you've taken the first step to identify, right? Like now you know where this part comes from, right? And it's informing your life experience. So thank you for sharing, and we're holding you through this. Thank you, brother Fraser.
Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing in a group, all of you who are choosing to share.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Miss Napolitano.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, thanks for having me. Miss you guys. So I'm coming up on wrapping up a lot of trauma, and well, I'm building a monumental sale of property that's going to be the end of a couple of years worth of traumatic experiences. And I related very much to what Faisha just said, because it just, I was sort of aware that they were intertwined. What I was impressed to see in this meditation was that the subpersonality was that so the initial is always like fear, my reputation, this isn't going to sell, self-doubt, frustration, repetition, if this keeps happening. But then what ends up even happening, which is a pleasant surprise, is that my altruistic self comes out. That's very like sweet and sincere, rather, so like the primary reactions are the fear, the self-doubt, the unlikable reactions and characteristics. And then when I'm in the moment, that, for example, my ex-boyfriend brought his new girlfriend here because he knew, like, we've become more than just like exes, we're friends and family, and it was a hurdle to get over, and he knew I needed assistance, and he brought her here. And what came out was my actual like loving, like nice, kind, welcoming self that isn't threatening, that wants her to feel loved and welcome. So that is that's a pleasant observation through that practice, that the subpersonality was not another unlikable, more of the real self rather than the primary reaction. So thank you, and thank you for allowing me to share.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you for your share. And yeah, so you can see, right? Not all subpersonalities are negative and are holding us back, right? There's some personalities that that develop certain skills, right? That are, you can relate to it as more positive. And essentially, all of us, our personalities are created as a result of some survival, right? Like we had to generate this aspect of selves at any given point, most of the time, childhood, right? We had to generate these parts of ourselves to help cope and deal with a specific situation. And so, you can, receive that altruistic, loving aspect of you, and loving and recognize that, right, you're not just the negative, right? There's also these aspects of yourself. And so the goal in psychosynthesis is to be able to become present and become aware of all the multiple personalities that sometimes are in conflict, right? You have this fearful aspect of self, and then you also have the loving. And so they are in conflict. And then sometimes that's why it's really hard. You feel conflicted, you feel inner turmoil, right? Because these aspects of selves have not been integrated. They have not been synthesized into your whole being. So yes, so great work. Thank you for allowing yourself to explore.
Yeah. Takes courage to look.
Yeah.
Anastasia, love to hear you. Take yourself off mute.
Hello.
Yeah,
Can
good
you
job.
hear me now?
Yes. Good.
So we're actually in the process of negotiating partnerships, and this one group in particular wants to work with us, and I find myself having, what comes up is in the process is this feeling of, oh boy, I have to speak, I have to articulate, but because I'm also in a position where I'm trying to protect and defend, our crew, our team, or our community of wellness people. And they basically want us to work for free. So what comes up for me is, like, at least physically, this is what happens is, the gut feeling tense, and then your chest as you're starting to think of, find ways to defend, not to, well, to express yourself so that your value is being, I guess, understood or viewed or seen. And another part of me is thinking, okay, let's listen to what they're saying. They probably just, they don't know better. So it's this battle of like, you're trying not to go in attack mode, but at the same time, you're also trying to put yourself in a position of grace so that you can be very easily received and understood, um, in a positive way. And it's like, it's a battle because you're talking to a world of people who don't know, who do not understand your world or your perspective, and they're, in their mind, they feel like, oh, we're the baddest, we, um like, it should be a privilege for you to be in our circle. So that's what we're dealing with. But yes, so that's what comes up for me is, that feeling of, okay, am I saying this the right way without seeming like I'm being negative? Um, or did they get it? Did they understand? I hope they didn't receive it the wrong way. I hope they received it positively and that hopefully they come around. So that's what's coming up for me.
Yeah. It's brilliant in your share, and maybe others notice this as well, because as we listen from a place of giving, of offering someone the gift of our full presence, I just want to acknowledge each one of you for doing so, because there's like, to me, I like to say, just this little tangent here, is love and presence are they're synonymous, because we can be present with anyone, anywhere, anytime, and we're choosing to be here now. We're not alone in our doing our thing, watching Suits or whatever show we watch. We're not with our children right now. We're with you all, and you're with each other. So like, I just want to acknowledge that. And secondarily, what I heard is like, there's actually the questions inside of the circumstance that you're asking yourself at the same time are these different parts of the self that are the sub. Did they receive that right? Their perspective. These are all voices and thoughts that are informing and having a conversation with each other. And it's not to say multiple personality, but these different sub personalities, we pick them up along the way. And they actually help us. They're like our survival mechanisms. They keep us safe. They have us like check in, and they're really beautiful gifts, right? They're gifts to be able to say, wow, what is that part of myself that's wondering if they received it or not, versus just say it and it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, helps us to refine our message, but at the same time, as soon as the words come out, if there's this thought of like, did they receive it right? Presence is out. That's why I mentioned presence, because it's like, oh, I just my thinking mind. So I can't even tune into the energetics of what's actually happening in this conversation, because I'm already having this little, and it's just so every day, all the time, that it's just the normal, right? I just wanted to thank you for that share. That was really, really quite robust. And then when you can start to see like, oh, if you can visualize what is that part of Anastasia, what does she look like? What does she need? That's asking, am I being received right? It's perceiving that I should be a gift to be in their, or it's a gift for me to be even in their community, and all these different things. And really what emerges from that is this whole, I am perfect, whole, complete individual that is moving and then choosing from a whole, perfect, and complete individual who we want to, in your case, do business with, be involved with, so that we're actually lifting each other up, not like, oh no, you should work for free. So that there's a lot in your share that to be explored there in a very beautiful way of sharing. Maybe you heard something different.
No, yeah, that was beautiful. Well said. What I would say is that you recognize through this exercise how then the people that you're interacting with and doing business with, they also have their self personalities, right? So then you are really talking to multiple aspects of themselves as well. And so who's the one that may be sharing that, right? So in becoming aware, right, you become aware of your parts of yourself, and then in others, in my experience, then you are able to then really hold more compassion, right? You're able to then, hold more compassion for yourself and for the other, right? And when you can, as Adam said, you're able to then really connect with your true self, communicate from that place, right? And communicate compassionately, right? You may have a completely different interaction, right? You may have a completely different conversation than if the aspect of you who's fearful or maybe thinking, whatever, I'm not good enough or don't deserve this, is the one doing the conversation, right? So you can see how it really kind of liberates us from this like extra energy that we are unconsciously projecting into the space and projecting into, our interactions with others. So that was a very rich share. Thank you, Anastasia.
Yeah, thank you. And welcome, Claudine.
Welcome, Claudine. Thank you.
Right in the middle of our screen. Hello.
Beautiful. So for those of you who just joined us, so we've been basically sharing about psychosynthesis, how it started, what is psychosynthesis, and then identifying the different aspects of self, which in psychosynthesis is called the sub-personalities, which I'm sure you are aware of. And so we just did a closed eye exercise where we guided people to, tune into a recent challenge and then and tune into their reaction and the emotions that came up in that challenge, and then recognize what sub-personalities were at play in that challenge. And then we just, had some people share some of that.
Yeah. And like Claudia was sharing, there's so much to what's happening in the dynamic, but being able to notice the dynamic of the self, like this inner conversation, this orchestra of different parts of ourselves that are all here, that we've developed along the way, and they're not like we need to cut them off and get out of here. It's really these parts of ourselves that we get to almost like reparent, and through coming together with groups and with certain frameworks, we can come to these parts of ourselves, these inner aspects of us that we developed as children, as teenagers, yesterday, whatever that might be, to then be able to as they start to come up, like tune into the moment, ask, what is this trying to inform, and then move forward with different steps that are different from the automatics that are happening.
Love and awareness. And grace. And then also keeping in mind the concept of the grounding meditation, we share, being the loving observer, right? So that's kind of like the central concept here, is you becoming aware, being the loving observer of all the sub-personalities and the different things that are showing up, so that you can create that space, right? That space would then allow you to not go into reaction, right? But be able to then choose, right? From the will, choose what would actually be my true, from my true self. Where would I act? What would I do in this situation?
Brilliant. Is there anybody else who feels like they want to share anything before we continue on with the evening?
And if not, it's perfect.
If not, that's good. We've just got some more things to.
All right, is there somebody? I feel a finger.
I see Fraser pointing at someone.
Mama Deborah, maybe?
Oh, Mama Deborah. Okay, there you go.
All right, we'll take one more share and then we'll continue on.
Thank you. What I experienced in my challenge was a recent event that happened in my working part of who I am, if you will, or that I deal with and work with. And there was my initial reaction was my little girl. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. I did it wrong. I was challenged, run away. Something's going to hurt me. And I was able to sit with that and take a breath. In that moment, my chest was tight, my throat was tight, like nobody hears me, I'm bad and wrong, and nobody sees me, I'm an invisible bad kid, little girl. And I was able to find, now I understand, another personality to bring forth, to use it that way. And I was able to open my true self and express to the people on the Zoom call with care and compassion, Because at first you get scared and then I was like frustrated. It's like, no, that's not working. What's my real vision for this team? What's my vision for this team? What do I see, intend, and want out of it and want to share? And it was a vulnerable share, and I let all the guard down and I shared vulnerably. I am here. I have value. I have gifts. And I spoke my truth. And it was so amazing that it didn't hurt. I wasn't scared anymore. I stood up for myself in a caring, open, vulnerable way. And this was a business setting. So put some vulnerability and some feelings sometimes for myself. I can only speak for myself in a business setting. Because I know for myself, I can wear that vulnerable, to use my own words, woo hat. Yeah, yay, this is cool. And then business, I got to put on the strict, do this hat, the accomplish, make it happen. You need something done, I'm your girl kind of vibe. And to be able to actually experience a balance with that and bring some vulnerability into the space that for me, and by the looking at the faces of the other people on the Zoom call, it landed, and it only needed to land for me, but it opened eyes. It's like the feedback is neutral, but the feedback was eye-opening, and there's been a lot of growth since I had that clearing for myself with those people. That's I got.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that rich share. And also, you're exactly illustrating, right, what we're talking about here. You like became present to this girl, I did something wrong personality, right? And then you were able to move into a place of what does my true self really want to do, right, in this situation, act from that place, and then boom, right, receive the result that your soul really wanted. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. And just notice, right, how, like you mentioned, you have your vulnerable self, and then you have your business hat, right? And then it's like, it's almost like you're putting in this facade, right? You're putting in this mask, right? That's not your true self. But we think we go through the world and we're putting on all these different masks, that we think we need to be in order to be accepted, right? In order to be loved and valued, right? So that we can receive what we want. And so when we do this integration work of integrating that little girl aspect of self, and there's, a whole process to do that, then that aspect of self won't be driving anymore, right? Then the one that's actually going to show up the first time is going to be that fully integrated, my true self, because then you'll be able to integrate it, to do the synthesis of that aspect of yourself. And that is the goal. That is the goal of this framework. There are many other frameworks that are similar. The IFS, internal family systems, very similar framework as well, where, that's the goal. The goal is integrating those aspects so that you can be your whole being, right? And then you are not reacting from all this, hurt and pain.
Yeah. It's just before we move on, it's we do some men's work also, and some of the conversations we've had is like we have these different aspects of self, and we can name these aspects of ourselves: the jester, the warrior, the alchemist, the playful one, the fearful little girl or little boy in the men's work. But then when there's this ambassador that is observing the kingdom within ourselves, right? And then we can deploy these different parts of ourselves if they serve or don't. If not, they don't serve. We just pick them up and we put them in the little baby seat next to us, and we click them in and say, "You're good, cool. You need some, a pacifier. Like you're here. I don't need to destroy you. Just you're here. You're safe. I've got you. Let's go." But then the ambassador is the one making the decisions. If we wake up, just imagine for yourself, we wake up in the morning, we start going throughout our day. We start all the emails and the phone call. That's how I email, like this, right? And all the phone calls and all the things, but we're coming from, I've got this work facade, but underneath there's this scared little girl. What's actually being created, and how much more space, if we can send one actual email from our ambassador self that actually lands and says the things we want to say in the way that we are coming from a whole self, and create the value that comes as a reflection back to that the universe gives to us, all the other stuff can just settle. And it's like, but I gotta punch the clock, work. There's the programming that we're undoing here, right? Like, it actually is just one shot with an arrow versus all over the place,
Yeah,
so I just
exactly.
wanted to share that that's what I was hearing in your share as well. Like,
Yeah,
you can really
and-
hold that energy and self-care,
Yeah. And then the energy that gets freed up, right? Because these parts of ourselves, they're in the subconscious, right? They're running us. We just don't know it, right? But they come out typically when there's a challenge, when there's stress. That's when we really get to know what's happening underneath. But they're taking up space, they're taking up energy. And sometimes it's why we feel so exhausted, right? We don't even know why. Because there's all these aspects that are like fragmented.
like the duck's feet under the water while the duck's like,
Yeah, exactly, right?
So
it is good to know that there is a way, that you don't have to suffer, you don't have to have, live life being a reactionary in having these aspects of self.
yeah, or proving our value to anyone, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Okay,
All
beautiful
right.
shares.
Beautiful shares, everyone.
Back to the screen share.
All right, so I'm gonna share here again. All right, we did this already.
Back on track.
Okay, so wait, we did this? I'm going backwards. All right. So now we are going to talk about the power of reframing obstacles. Challenges do not stop us, they grow us. And often we view obstacles as roadblocks. But when we change our perspective, when we see them as stepping stones to something greater, right? Then in psychosynthesis, we view challenges not as things to avoid, but as integral parts of our growth journey. So, for example, have you ever found yourself feeling stuck, frustrated, or defeated when faced with an obstacle? Raise your hand if you had that. Yeah, right. That's our common reaction, right? A natural tendency is to see challenges as things that are blocking us and preventing us from achieving our goals or throwing us off course, right? But what if I told you, or we told you, that these very challenges are the keys to your personal growth?
Mm-hmm. So in the psychosynthesis framework, we believe that every challenge, every internal conflict, like some of the shares that were coming up earlier, is actually an opportunity. Just like we saw in that awareness, like, oh, there's an opportunity, right? Rather than being, something that holds us back. It's something that allows us to learn more about ourselves and gain deeper self-awareness and insight. And we can reframe the challenges to take a step back and shift and see a different perspective versus being like lost in it. We begin to ask, what is this teaching me? Or how can this situation help me grow? And in that shift, we move from feeling stuck to feeling empowered.
Yes. And so think about it like this. Imagine that you're walking down a path and you come across a big rock in your way, right? At first, it may seem like, oh, it's a roadblock, something that's going to slow you down or stop you completely. But what if the rock isn't there to block you, right? What if the rock is there to make you stronger, right? So by figuring out how to move around it, how to climb over it, or even learn from it, you can become more resourceful, more resilient, and ultimately more empowered. So the rock didn't stop you, it actually helped you grow.
Mm-hmm. And by that subtle reframing, we can uncover these valuable lessons and even integrate these parts of ourselves that may be holding us back. Psychosynthesis teaches us to, that each each challenge brings up a parts of our personality, like fears and limiting beliefs. And when we address these, we become more whole, more aligned with our true self, like the I am presence.
Yes, the I, the big I. So let's try this out. Now think again, and you can close your eyes. That's easier. So think again of a recent challenge that you faced, right? So take a moment to reflect. How can you reframe this situation? Like, how might this challenge be actually serving you and helping you grow? And then whenever, that comes up, you can just open your eyes and write down, just write it down. See how you can have a perspective shift there. I'll give you just a few minutes. And then if anybody would like to just share how, how
Reframed,
perfect. Anastasia, stop my share.
Go ahead,
Can I
Anastasia.
share? Yeah.
Yes.
It's just crazy what came to me. Well, probably because we know each other for so long and I'm very like available for whatever, for your influence. So what happened to me very clear, what came to me is very clear that this little girl standing there, afraid, vulnerable, not protected, I developed this resistance to my dad, my masculine side of my family, and this not trusting him, that he's not there, he's not protecting me. And I'm barely breathing right now. And then I connected to my body, and clarity came to me that I am resisting the masculine part of myself, not healing it, not accepting it, and not letting it shine. And that's why, pushing everything that's associated with masculine presence in my life. That's literally how it came to me. Like, this is amazing. So, and so much clarity, and that's, finances, success, everything is a representation of masculinity, right? So that's exact part of myself that I'm not accepting, and that's, has to do with my relationship with my dad, all the way back. Well, that's what came to me. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. And so how would you reframe that, right? How would you be able to reframe this?
So that's the lesson that is here is that, is actually where I need to focus now to heal this part of me. And that's exactly what it's here to do, is to actually build a relationship with the masculine part of myself, embrace it, and actually let it shine and raise this inner part of me. And so I can be whole human being, whole woman. There is nothing wrong with rely on your masculine self, because for so many years I thought I have to push it back because I don't want to be a masculine woman. I don't want to be a man. I want to be this feminine, beautiful goddess. But what came to me now is there is nothing wrong with that. It's actually powerful and it's part of me, and it's not going to break me. It's going to raise me. So that's
I just got chills.
That's a good
And
one.
how does that feel?
I feel empowered. I feel strong. I feel like open the door where I can, enter right now and start building this relationship inside of me, with this part of myself. I feel free and empowered.
Mm,
That's the word. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God, amazing. Yeah,
Brilliant,
you're
brilliant.
Yeah.
There's a
Mr.
beautiful map that we
Hollywood.
get to work with too. Popping some hearts is noticing in every moment. I like to say this about like that, there's so much conversation in the spiritually inclined communities
Mm-hmm.
about divine masculine and sacred masculine and divine feminine and all these things, right? Like I need to, but there's also man and woman. But like you said it so beautifully that there's, I have a feminine aspect of myself. When I can be a man with hairy face and all the things, but I can hold a feminine energy in the space. I've watched it just like glitches people. They're like, wait a minute, I feel so much nurturing, but and then people want to label nurturing as feminine, but actually, what is it? It can be both. So like there's some beautiful maps that we explore when we go into the deeper framework of polarity maps of where distortions of like, oh, I just feel like I'm gonna hide over here, this feminine distortion, or I want to be tyrannical in any stress moment. And I like to tie it together. It's not so much the psychosynthesis, but it brings in some other esoteric teachings of how they can those energies come into energy centers in our body. And we look at chakras being left and right, like if our solar plexus, if our power was perceived to be given away, and now we're coming into the awareness of, whoa, this pendulum just swung back to the center. My sense of I am, my personal power, and my solar plexus is actually aligned, and then I feel empowered. I feel strength, and it's really there's some beautiful work to keep this resilience going by actually putting maps to these things and talking them through.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful work.
Amazing, right? A complete
Mhm.
shift.
Complete shift.
Fear,
Yeah.
feeling all that you were feeling. Now you're empowered, free. Like you
Yeah.
just liberated so much energy
Mhm.
that you can direct towards your goals.
Yeah.
And
The
so
will, the act of
amazing,
will.
amazing share. Thank you,
Yeah.
Alice.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. And Sister Abby Rose, you have your hand up.
Hey, Claudia. Hi, Adam.
Yeah.
So for me, the struggle that I've been facing lately is my car. It's a whole mess. It's not even turning on right now, so I need to figure out basically getting a new car. So yeah, like when it was first coming up for me in my body, just the entire feeling of it brought up a lot of fear and also shame. Because I've gotten scammed twice buying cars in the past. And every time I go to the dealership, this is actually what I felt like. I feel like a little girl in this big, ominous, scary store. Like it just feels so much bigger than me, and like I don't know how to navigate it. So yeah, after like I sat with that feeling and felt it in my body and was like, okay, like how do I reframe this? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for me to learn, to do research, to ask for help, network with people who've bought a car, successfully. And specifically in my situation with my credit, just figuring that out. But yeah, I definitely felt like I was letting fear kind of run me.
Mm.
And now it's like, oh, okay, I just have to figure it out. It's just something that I got to learn. And yeah, adulting, another aspect of adulting.
Yeah. Well, speaking into some of the subpersonalities behind that, and I want to ask how you reframe that, but like there can be this little sneaky subpersonality, like I don't wanna have to go do that hard work. I don't wanna have to research and learn it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I want to just be, whatever, right? But then we see the the compounded effect of I don't wanna, it makes it be like not cleaning our room for a month versus like daily. It's like this overwhelming chore. But then we just start taking one step at a time, like not try to climb the mountain all at once. Like what's one next step? And you just took it. So how did you reframe challenge into opportunity? I kind of heard you say it, but like I just really want to hear, you know, your nugget there.
I think what like made me reframe it was just like physically like shrinking, like in my head, like shrinking the size of the dealership, you know, like it doesn't have to be so big and ominous and scary. Yeah, like just reframing it mentally, like it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to scare me, like, you know, with its size. I feel like it's the size of the problem in my head a lot of the time that makes it so frustrating for me. So yeah, just literally I mentally shrunk it. It's like, okay,
That's hilarious.
I can handle this.
Yeah.
Wow.
In this game of life, right? Like why not see that perspective and think about how to play that game? It's almost like I'm playing Mario and I just ate a mushroom and I can shoot fireballs now. Like what, you know, but like we're making up our rules in the opposite as well at the same time. We're making this big ominous thing, and all it is a dealership.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
But isn't
that's
that
all it is.
interesting? You know, how even you're going from being paralyzed, right? To then solution focused,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, what is it that I need? And
Right.
like Adam said, take that next step, right? Just what is the small next step that I can take in order to keep moving forward? And then you take that other next step and then, you know, really be able to bring it down to the earth, right? Instead of being this like humongous challenge. So great work. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not to minimize, like when we're in these situations of for instance, car breaking down, I've been taking advantage of before, stress, fear, my credit, all these things like that. You know, it's when we said, everybody raise your hand if you felt overwhelmed. Can you see clearly of a situation when you're in a triggered space? Raise your hand if you think you can. Right. So then when we have the tools to disidentify from the fearful one, the one that generated all these results, that I've got all this evidence, right, all around me that shows me that this is real. And so people are like, no, but you just have to sit and just give it to God and surrender. But I have all this evidence, I almost said the F word, all this evidence all around me that says that this is real. But at the same time, all that evidence has been generated from the part of self that actually has been choosing from those parts of self. So that's when we say, like, when we can choose from a whole part, we can sort of back up off it and say, oh, wow, there's this, like Claudia was saying in that guided space, like there's this boulder in the space. And instead of me just like being up against the boulder and saying, look at all this evidence, I can't, you just back up and, oh, wow, I can just go around this thing. I can just climb over it, or I can go another direction. Right. So it's like, this is where we start to build that resilience of coming away from the triggers that become compounded.
Yeah, exactly. So excellent work. Thank you for your share. And we'll continue on.
Just a few more slides. Welcome, Jen Roseberg.
Great. So we did this one. And so the last, here we go. So the last tool that we'll give you for tonight is building resilience, and as Adam has been mentioning, and also emotional regulation tools.
Yeah. So once we've reframed, you know, these obstacles, right? The next step is to building resilience and emotional regulation. Right. I talked about like how the different stresses and things, what they're doing is they're dysregulating the nervous system, dysregulating the mind, the body's informing the mind, the mind's informing the body, who's informing what. So we're learning this resilience, and you know, resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's not about, to use the term in the, again, spiritually inclined community, of bypassing, but it's about staying centered and grounded even in the difficult times, even in the triggers. In psychosynthesis, we strengthen our resilience by integrating different parts of ourselves and practicing emotional regulation in every moment. Emotional regulation helps us navigate life's ups and downs with more grace. And when you can regulate your emotions, you're not reacting from a place of fear or frustration, but from clarity and wisdom. And this is where psychosynthesis comes in, integrating all these parts of ourselves as we develop the inner resources to remain grounded in the face of challenges. Practical tools for emotional regulation.
So we'll give you 2 practical tools.
Yeah. One of them is mindful breathing, like just becoming present to the breath, just a simple breathing exercise you can use anytime that you're feeling stress, constriction, overwhelm. You can just close your eyes for just a moment and
And if you want, just do it right now.
Yeah, you can close your eyes with me now and just take, even placing our hands on our belly and our chest or both, and just feel the rise and fall of the chest. Inhale through your nose. Hold for just a second. And then let it out. You just focus on the rise and fall of your breath and how your body feels as you inhale and exhale. And this technique can help to ground you in the present moment, calming your body and your mind. It's informing your mind that you're okay. Just mindful, meaning focusing on breath. Mindful breath, breathing regularly, and build emotional resilience and improve your ability to handle challenges with grace.
Yes. Beautiful. And so in the event, like Abby just shared, right? She became, she was able to reframe her challenge. And so you could take a moment to regulate yourself, right? Just breathing in, make sure that you're not taking the action from that dysregulated place, but just wait, let me just ground and center. And then be able to breathe in so that you can take action from that center grounded space.
Yeah.
And then the second tool that we'll give you, it's called emotional disidentification. We've talked a little bit about this. So in psychosynthesis, we teach the practice of emotional disidentification. And so when you are in a moment of intense emotion, so this would probably be before you do the reframing, just remind yourself that I am not my emotions, right? I am the observer of my emotions. So here again, we're practicing the loving observer. And so, this technique allows you to step back, to create space that I mentioned earlier, and be able to choose your response instead of reacting automatically, right? And so you can think of it as like taking a step back from the storm, taking a moment to just, instead of being swept away by your feelings, which, right, who gets swept away by their feelings a lot when something happens, right? Like, I'm right there with you. It's just like, it like overcomes, right? It's just almost like, and it happens. So be graceful, right? This takes time, but that's why we are, doing these practices so that you can, step back and be able to choose with control, right? Just regain control and regain clarity. So let's just try this out. So just go ahead and close your eyes for another moment. And then bring to your awareness a recent situation or another recent situation that triggered a strong emotion. Just bring that to your awareness. And as you recall that emotion, breathe slowly and deeply. And instead of identifying with the emotion, just observe it from a distance. And then just notice how it feels in your body. And where do you feel that tension? And then gently remind yourself, I am not this emotion. And you can repeat that silently within yourself. I'm not this emotion. I am simply experiencing it. I'm simply observing the emotion. And so with each breath you notice how the intensity of the emotion shifts. I just notice as you're breathing, notice if that intensity shifted. And then feel the space between you and that emotion and the reaction. And so this practice of observing without attachments can be used anytime you feel overwhelmed. And then the more you practice, the more resilient you become.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back to our space, our circle. So there you have it. We've given you 3 powerful tools in order to be able to shift, right? Reframe obstacles and actually turn them into catalysts for, for action, to take action.
Stop sharing for a second. Yeah.
Yeah. I would stop sharing.
So would anybody like to share if there was anything that came up for you there as you were like, okay, when I came into that mindful breath, you're able to see something different or feel something move, or even the disidentification with like, I have these emotions, but I'm not my emotions.
Yes, Jennifer, go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So even tonight, coming on to your, thank you again for having me and letting me share. Coming into the space, I was apprehensive because I always have like a guilt that I haven't been such a good friend. And the two of you, including many people in this group, are people I admire and consider family, even when so much time has gone by. And even though the feeling has come to me through that meditation and this awareness, but it was there before, and it was like stuffing it down, like, don't be silly, they love you. Don't be silly, they love you. Don't be silly, they love you. But it's there because of the shame of how much I feel like I have to accomplish to be back in that group, to be worthy, because I am always a victim of my own circumstance, blah, 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 and it's just so refreshing to do this and remember that it's such nonsense. It was nonsense 5 years ago. It was nonsense 2 years ago. It was nonsense 6 months ago. It's nonsense now. But it's real in the fact that I'm feeling it and it stops me. And that's the real part. And that's unfortunate. And I consider myself a very strong-willed, persevering kind of woman. And if it can stop me, I feel very I feel almost silly for embodying that when I need to, well, not need, I desire to be the example for other people, and especially with people like you two and everyone else in this group who knows me and understands that even if they don't know me or don't know you that well, you don't need to. It's just pure love, and it's just a really silly thing. And there's times when also it's real. Like there's times when I have disappointed. I'll use you, Claudia, for an example, and you weren't shy to let me know, but it was still from love. And it wasn't through words, and I deserve that because I was disappointing. That was real. That wasn't manufacturing. So I just want to thank you for letting me share again, for being a space for all these people. And I hope they get to know on that level what the love that you two produce is really capable of. So thank you for letting me share.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And you are loved and accepted. And you've been in my mind. I'm like, I gotta reach out to Jen, for a while. So I want you to know that we love you and accept you, as you are. And so I'm happy that you came along into the journey, into this call, because it's like removing that, you know what I mean? As you said, that grandiosity of whatever that feeling might be, right? That's taking away from what actually is, which all there is love. So yes,
And
thank you so
in
much.
every moment, like in the context of this overall framework, and thank you for your share, it's received. You illuminated for me, and I don't know if everybody else heard this as well, but that there's a choice in every moment, whether we call it nonsense or whatever. There's a choice in every moment to make up a story from whatever parts of ourselves. And then these storied self starts telling stories to the other storied self and listening through the storied self. And then there's this like chaos going on. But in a moment, in a split second, it can all get still. It can all just pause for a moment. And then that's that space, right? And then if I'm listening from a place of trigger because I've got something going on with me, and I can be like, yeah, she's saying that, but she doesn't really, I'm running, but like none of that's even real, right? Like that didn't happen, by the way. But like what it is, like anybody who's called to like like I mentioned, like even in relationship with children and business, when you can like come up to somebody and somebody can just lose their shit right in front of you, and it's just like, are you good? Like, I love you, and what that actually can do in humanity, like if we really want to take it on a bigger scale, is just absolutely profound. We talk about holding space and things like that's what that is. Otherwise, we can make up our own. Oh, I just got triggered because I need to defend. Because if I don't defend and pick up my sword, then I'm going to be a weak. All this chatter, So I just wanted to acknowledge that you came to a place of feeling the love and being able to express it and like recenter. And sometimes it gets a little out there and takes a little time. We all go through it. I kick and scream all the time, and I'm just like, look at that! Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And still I do it, and so we're not alone. That's where that love comes from, is that we can be compassionate because we also have all those personalities as well, like what the fuck.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
So I want to be mindful of time. We're going to wrap up very soon, and I'm going to share my screen.
Share screen again. One more time, we're gonna share our screen again.
All right, so we're gonna just do a quick overview of what the Alchemy of Self, our 13-month program, it's about. And just for the sake of space, because like if I added everything that we're gonna be going through, it would be
here for
multiple
another couple of hours.
So basically what you've experienced, right? It's a little taste of what we're gonna go through. We identify the self personalities in the actual coaching program. We're going to be able to identify the multiple personalities, all these self personalities that are at play. And then we're going to work on integrating them, right? Doing the actual process so that those self personalities become part of you, right? Fully integrated.
Bringing
fully
together the parts of
integrated.
self. Yep.
And so that you can operate, you can be free, you can feel empowered, like that actually becomes your experience of life in your everyday life. So our 13-month program is framed by 2 in-person retreats, and we will make it available for those who cannot come in person. We will make an online version available. So we will start here with the Sacred Beginnings Retreat, our Villa Sol, our home sanctuary here in Florida in Plantation. And so then we're going to go through the different process, right? We're going to go exploring the self. We'll go through the different personalities, the core values, and different guiding beliefs. And then we're going to move into integration and alignment. And so be able to integrate those aspects of self and then aligned with your higher self. And then we will be moving on, and the next module will be developing your personal resources. So we're going to be unlocking your inner strength so that it helps you to navigate, right, life and all the challenges.
We're going to be shrinking dealerships. That's what we're going to be doing.
And then, we'll be moving into creating positive change and strategizing for success. So we get connected to what your ideal model looks like and be able to harness the power of will, which we will have another masterclass about this. And then moving into develop your long-term personal development plan, right? So that you can have a plan of action.
That's why I'm here, really. That's the only part, just that plan. That's everything else. I'm just a handsome guy,
Yes. And then we will close our celebration or our journey with another in-person retreat here, our Villa Sol, and we'll make it available online. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be covering. This is just the main kind of titles of the different modules that we're going to go through. And I want to show you now the different, the different tracks that you can choose and how you can participate in this program.
Drum roll, please.
All right, so we want to make it, part of it is we want to make it accessible. So we wanted to create two options, right? One more basic option, which is the Essence program. And so that is going to be bi-weekly, so 2 monthly 90-minute group coaching sessions.
Twice a month.
So every 2 weeks, right? And we're going to be be able to explore the concepts, the different concepts, and going through this process. And then the virtual, if you want to participate virtually, it's included in that retreat. If you want to come into the in-person, it's an additional contribution for the in-person retreat. So the Essence program is $222 a month. If you wanted to do that work with Adam and I alone, it would be $1,500 a month. So this is also part of why we wanted to create a group coaching program, because we wanted to make it accessible, and we wanted to bring these
impact,
tools,
actually, too.
and be able to bring these tools to bigger groups than just working one-on-one. And so if you wanted to go deeper, so we have another option, which is our Ascend program. So this is going to be more of an intensive deep dive. This is a weekly, so we're going to be meeting weekly, intensive 90-minute group online coaching sessions. And so essentially there'll be 1 week we do the teaching, and then the other week is going to be the coaching. So you'll be able to actually get coached in the different tools and the different concepts that we're going to be practicing, similarly to what we did today, but it's going to be more one-on-one, right? So we really wanted to make sure that, when we were creating this, the reason why it's 13 months is because we really want to make sure that you have the transformation and you have the integration.
Yeah,
Right? We
the
could do this in
resilience.
6 months, but it's not enough. So you really need to give yourself the time to be able to do the work, become aware of it, integrate it, and and it takes time. It takes time for that to happen, and also for the practice. So with the Ascend program, you also receive group energy healing sessions, and then we're going to do a quarterly deep dive session one-on-one. Now, where we'll see, where we may do like a group depending on who ends up in this program, but we will offer one-on-one support. You'll have access to the private Ascend only workshops. So we will create specific groups and events and retreats for the Ascend group, and the in-person and closing and opening retreats are included. So 222-444 for the Ascend, it would be $3,000 a month. But we want to make it super affordable and give people the opportunity. And if you take action, we have some masterclass specials. So within 24 hours, and you can just let us know. We don't have the page up yet to be able to actually sign up. But we do have the participants who came here. If you are interested, there is, so before I go there, because it's on the next slide. So 10% off. So it's $199, as part of the masterclass participation.
Every month.
Paid in full. Of course, you have an additional 10% off. And then if you refer a friend, then you get the first month free. So how good is that?
Yeah. And what's it going to be is like this, we've got 2 more master classes where we're going to go deeper into some of these concepts, some additional concepts. It's not like still more disidentification. We've given you these first, menu items, right? So we're serving up a buffet. So right now there's a buffet of what we've covered so far. But then in this, like for people who say, yes, I want to join and be, it's going to be a closed container where you're working with the same group over the longer period of time. And you're like in the Ascend program where you're working every week with the same group and really taking on these different parts of self. You know, if we talk about it from a business perspective of like, what's the return on investment, the ROI? What's the return on investment of being able to actually come from a place of wholeness in every decision and be like, I can make one phone call a day and do this deal, and the rest of the time I can go, you know, do these things with my family. Like that's actually, you know, it is possible. We know people in the world that are doing that. But when we're running this racket of all these different parts of self, it's more challenging. And then when we're doing these in-person calls, there's an opportunity to do breakout rooms and have you know, buddy coaching. And then you're, you know, like Claudia mentioned, we're covering framework in one call. And then the next call, it's like, who's in the hot seat and really going deep with it. The energy healing, I used to be like energy healing. Okay. Until I experienced it, like the Sekim Reiki and the shamanic Reiki and the Akashic records and the angel readings and meditations, all these different fragments. It's like really, really robust in this package. And the transformational aspect, like when Claudia and I did our trainings in yoga teacher training in our School of Mysteries, which we didn't put that on there, we're, you know, initiates in the School of Mysteries. And then also through our own psychosynthesis certification, it's not only giving the tools of tremendous inner transformation, it's creating the tools to be out in the world as that transformed being. And then part of a community and network, anybody who knows anything about Purple Eagle Tribe, there's already a robust community. But like, we haven't ever put anything out there where we're actually going to work together and do this work outside of these deeper sessions that we do in person. And it begins to really start getting momentum. And this has like been screaming and calling to us to offer. If we could do it for free, we would. We stripped it down as much as possible, and just so we can keep on doing this more and giving back more. And it's just, it'd be a gift to receive any of you.
Bigger group. And then there is the option to, you know, if you want to extend it, you know, so maybe the monthly payment is a little less. If that supports you, we're just going to extend the time. That's an option.
Don't be shy.
So don't be shy. Just reach out to us so we can work out whatever can work for you. We really want to make it a no-brainer. We're giving a ton of value and we want to make it accessible for you. So the next steps, if you're interested in participating, I'm going to place these links on the
Chatty chat.
chat. Should be, wait a second, I can't really access them.
Please hold.
I thought I could access this again. So
we'll
I'm
put
gonna
it in there.
place,
Once you
yes,
stop
once
sharing
you
the
stop
screen, you'll
sharing,
put
I
it
can
in.
do it. So I'm gonna place, it's on our website, the Alchemy of Self link. So just RSVP there, so we can have the names of those of you who are interested. And then please also sign up for the following master classes that are coming. But let me stop sharing so that I can do that. So in the meantime, does anybody have any questions for
But
us?
before we ask any questions, you know, the RSVP to this particular event, there's 3 different events because an RSVP isn't for 3 events, it's for 1 event. So if you really want to keep going and you're like, okay, I really, you know, I'm feeling a yes, but I need more evidence. So come, you know, RSVP in our website. There's the other 2 master classes. Go ahead and RSVP to them. What we'll do is we'll actually grab all of the emails from RSVPing from this one, and we'll add it to the next event. So you'll automatically get that. But when you RSVP, you'll get the email.
Well, the Zoom is going to be different.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that you RSVP to the class because it links it. So here, this is the actual Alchemy of Self. So if you're interested, make sure you add your name to that link.
Yep, that's to go on to the sort of wait list for the Alchemy of Self. Now, if you're called to the Ascend package, what we mean by, let's say that we're actually hoping that all of you say, let's do the Ascend package, because then we can actually say, all right, everybody who's on the screen and everybody who was on the call earlier, there was actually, at one time, there was 33 people on this call, and I'm very humbled and even like quite emotional about that, because I have a little part of myself that was like, this is a Tuesday evening and people are whatever, you know, and is there value? we put so much love into even the graphics, like this amazing graphic designer over here. She's over here whipping this thing out together, right? But like everybody says yes to the Ascend. There is an opportunity to come together and do some of the deeper in-person work with the group that you've been on the calls with and be able to do some in-person real-time transformational work. In the property that we're living on now, Villa Sol is the name of the property, has an infrared sauna here and a saltwater pool, and we're on an acre of land, and there's like, you know, fireside ceremonies and all these different teachings that we get to geek out with you all on. Some of you have been here, and will be here soon. And you know, it gives us an opportunity to do some of this in-person work to really be in that same space, in a physical space, in an energetic space. So you get like exclusive access to those invites. So if, you know, if it was me, I would do that, because that's what we're hoping for, is everybody says, yes, let's go. There's no reason to be like half in, half out. Where else are we in life? Are we half in, half out? Well, let's go. Let's get in there and let's see it happen and see the results, you know?
Yep. And that's our prayer, is that you can experience that freedom, that feeling of being empowered, right? And that having the tools to be able to create your dream life. And part of it is like, you know, I've been in this journey for over 10 years, 12 years now. And it's like, boom, it happens. It actually happens. You know, manifested my beloved. We have an amazing place. We have an amazing community. Family is doing great. So it's like, we want to give back. And this is really a way that we can do that and really support you with some real, you know, tools that work.
Yeah.
So there it is.
And you know, like Claudia mentioned, don't hesitate if you're like,
Yes,
hey, I
don't
want to take on
hesitate.
this deep dive, but I got to stretch it out, whatever that might
Whatever
be.
it is, please don't let that get in the way. You know,
Yeah.
if you're really feeling called and you're ready for it, reach out. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Put your name there, you know, and let's make it happen.
Yeah. And something I heard today in closing, I really want to, it was actually yesterday I heard it, and it really landed. This gentleman was sharing about how human beings walking around in life, most of the time we walk by somebody else that isn't maybe on this call, and you can feel almost like there's a body, there's a person with legs and arms and heartbeat and breathing, and but it's almost like there's like a shield around it, you know. It's almost like where it's like very closed off, so it's like this this dysregulated way of being, right? And so like part of these tools, like what I've come to awareness of, is when I am coming from a regulated space, opportunities come that I would otherwise not even see, or I would just bounce right up. Somebody could come up to me and be like, I love you so much, I want to give you a hug, and I'd be like, you know. And this is like a space that gets opened up for the universe to give back, for love to be received, when we can regulate and start quieting the parts of self. So it's like it just it landed so big for me yesterday when I heard that. I'm like, oh my God, where am I doing? You know, where am I just so focused on the what's next that I'm not even like taking the opportunity to, you know, be present with my matcha that I like to make in the morning or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, and what's the real value that you can put on, right? Like if you could have what you wanted and live free. Well, what is that?
And in humanity, to walk next to another person and be like, I fucking love you, and I love you too. Like how we live in this bubble, but like it's a bubble, you know, in many ways. So it's like being able to have these tools to see from the place of like, I'm the generator of my reality, where am I projecting separation? You know.
So any questions, any comments? Thank you so much for all the comments in the chat. I'm so excited.
Thank you, Andrea. So nice to meet you. Looking forward to
I have one comment. This is Jennifer. Adam's hug is someone else's $1 million.
I need to have that on a t-shirt.
Nice, amazing. Thank you, sister.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. Does anybody have anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Anybody who didn't get to share?
Yeah,
we'd
want
love
to hear from you.
That was massively put together, guys. Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and hope that supports you in your journey.
Claudia's in Bimini. Look at that.
I am in Bimini.
Bimini Island.
Bimini.
Oh.
So I just want to say, you guys are so masterfully loving beings. And saying that, I've been walking this path with you since 2018, like hand to hand, follow the steps, be inspired by you, from each other, holding, each other's and up and downs, subpersonalities, not subpersonalities, no integrations, storms, joyful, everything. And I get to say this is an opportunity of a lifetime. It changed lives to work this type of programs. And I just, that's the only thing that I can say. That's something that when you see it, you cannot look back. That's it. That's
The red
it.
pill or the blue pill?
So thank you guys so much for this
Thank
together.
you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing work you're doing.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I want to hear everybody.
I'll hop on and say just thank you. It was really beautiful to be here, and I'm really glad that you're bringing yourselves to the world like this. I think that the world needs you. I know I need you, and I love you, and I love our community, and I'm so grateful to join Claudia, the other Claudia, to say, like, I've been on this path with you since the beginning and of Purple Eagle Tribe, and yeah, just couldn't be more grateful to be part of this community, and so excited to see who else we get to meet along this journey. And yeah, just community, it's just where it's at. We learn and grow from each other, reflections from each other, and it's just a really beautiful space to be in. So thank you so much for enhancing the Tuesday night.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being here for this time. We honor you. We love you. We see you. And reach out to us if you have any questions.
Yeah, and feel free, to support our cause and our mission, really, of love, healing, and awakening, and to spread the word. If you found value, we have 2 more master classes before we come into November 18th, and there's an opportunity to spread it, this organic. The other day I was like, look at all these people. They've got like 40,000 Instagram followers. I have like 430. I'm like, nobody's going to show up to this thing. But meanwhile, they've got like 1 client, because it's not about just, that stuff out there. It's really about the community. And so when you know somebody who equally could find value, please, please, like, who do you want to see? It's almost like if you go through your phone right now and look at all your contacts and say, nope, yeah. It's like you're basically saying, okay, who doesn't get to go? Who doesn't get to live? Who doesn't get to fully live? Nope. No, I don't want to. Nah. Like, everybody gets to have an opportunity. So please just share this. It's the biggest impact we can all make as a community in the world.
And we would be willing to even share this recording so that they can receive that experience from the beginning. So if there's anybody in your lives that you feel you could benefit from this work, please share it.
Impact first.
Yes.
Money second.
We love you all. Have a beautiful evening wherever you're at. And thank you for being here.
Good to see you, everyone. Blessings.
Much love, everybody. Thank you.
Love.
Masterful.
Love you guys. Love you, son. Love you, daughter.
Love you.